What is going on, YouTube? I'm Lamont at Large, and again with my special guest, Mary. Today we're going to talk about the unsolved LaSalle Street murders, and you might want to stay tuned. There's a plot twist to this story. Check it out. On December 1st, 1971, three businessmen were found murdered in a house at 1318 LaSalle Street in Indianapolis, Indiana. Robert Henson, 30, James Baker, 27, and Robert Gears, 34, were all found with their hands and feet bound and their throats slit. Each body had been found in a different room in the house. Gears and Henson were friends who had quit their previous jobs for businessman Ted Uland to start their own microfilming business. The two allegedly had taken with them some of Uland's clients, equipment, and money. During the police investigation, it was made known to homicide detectives that Uland had put out a $150,000 life insurance policy on the men. He became the prime suspect of the initial investigators, but charges against him were never filed due to lack of evidence. Through all of the twists and turns, theories and assumptions in this case, one thing has remained. 50 years later, this murder still remains unsolved. Okay, so we're currently driving in the neighborhood, and this looks like a pretty okay neighborhood for the most part. And I believe the house is coming up, and I believe it is right there. That is where the murder took place. Right there. Still unsolved after all these years. We are visiting the grave of one Carol Lois Horton. And this is his grave right here. First Lieutenant, U.S. Army Air Forces, World War II. And the reason why we're at this grave is because, number one, this is your father.
Yes.
And number two, he was the one that was arrested for the triple murder at LaSalle Street.
Yes.
I mean, where do we begin? So he was arrested for it, and he spent a few months in jail over it. What year was he arrested?
1996.
He was arrested in 1996. And so he was all over the newspapers here in Indianapolis, and
yeah.
The detectives, they think they had got their man. Why did they arrest him?
Because a reporter and a jail informant came up with a story and told the prosecutors and Sheriff Layton, and he proceeded to indict my dad.
Now, eventually, they didn't have enough evidence to even go forward with the trial, so they let him go. Did your dad try to clear his name? Did he sue the city or the county?
He tried to sue the county and have a Supreme Court come after them, but there is a cap in Indiana for $70,000 for wrongful imprisonment.
So it wasn't even worth it for him to do it, to sue?
No.
Do you think that your dad did it?
My opinion is that he may have been involved.
So you think your dad knows who did it, but
he knew who did it.
He knew who did it, but
yes.
he didn't talk.
No, he didn't.
You were telling me a story. Okay, so your dad had you when he was older. He was an older guy when he had you.
Yes.
And he told me a story, like, even though he was an older man, he was nobody to mess with. He told me a story that somebody had laughed at him because he accidentally what happened?
He accidentally bumped into a telephone pole in an alley.
While he was driving?
Yes, very slow, wasn't a big deal, but...
And somebody had laughed at him.
Yeah, and called him stupid mother...
Okay, so when he jumped out, he...
proceeded to beat him with his cane.
He beat the guy with his cane?
Yeah.
Bad?
Pretty bad.
Okay, would you be surprised if your dad actually did it?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for showing us his grave. An innocent man. He was not, I just want to say, first and foremost, he was not convicted of the crime. He was simply arrested for the crime. I believe the detectives know who truly did it, but just because of the reporter and what happened, they try to